What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Just an Era podcast. This week, we are going to do a Q&A episode, which is a part 2 to the birth control series that I was doing a few weeks ago. As you guys know, I've been traveling, so I wanted to really make sure that I had like a good headspace and I wasn't like vacation mode while talking to you guys about the birth control segment. I hope you guys enjoyed my last week's episode with Nick on. I feel like we were a little bit like dazed off. It was a long day at the pool and beach, and then I wanted to record with him, but we were both just low-key rotting inside. But anyways, a little housekeeping, making sure you're following the Just an Era podcast. That is where I asked you guys to leave any Q&A questions for the birth control segment. And then, of course, rating the show at 5 stars on wherever you get the podcast, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube. But yeah, let's get into it. Weekly error this week is going to be my Delta Rage. Delta Rage, okay? I have had nothing but a horrible experience with Delta. I used to be a Delta stan, okay? I love Delta. Growing up as a kid, would always fly Delta and JetBlue. But recently, I've had a lot of issues, whether it's a cancellation, a delay, extremely expensive flights, or this week, literally about to take off and the plane is leaking. So we had to do a emergency deboard and completely cancel the flight, which I'll get more into later, but I just want you guys all to know I used to love Delta and I hope this is just like a one-time thing. I actually want to look up what percentage of Delta flights gets delayed. Delta percentage of flight delays. All right. 16%, which is really low compared to the other ones. I'm honestly surprised by that, to be honest, because with my experience of flying Delta, I would say 80% of the time there's a delay. One time I had a delay and I had macro with me and I was going home for the holidays. The flight was 2 hours delayed. Now keep in mind, traveling with a dog is like not easy as is, but imagine 2 hours in an airport where he can't even go to the bathroom. I mean, they do have the bathrooms for the dogs, but like he would not use those. And I just never had a good experience with Delta. So if you guys have good experiences with flights or any airline that you recommend, I really want to start flying just one specific flight and rack up the points and the miles, so that way I can take advantage of some free flights and benefits. But I thought Delta was gonna be that one for me. Maybe I just need to take a break from them for a little bit. Anyways, purchases of this week. I'm not even wearing it right now, but I got this stone necklace and I'm obsessed with it. It's like rainbows. I got it at a little boutique in Charleston, but like all the chunky jewelry I think is very in right now, especially the charm necklaces, which I'm wearing one right now. But my stone necklace, I'm obsessed with it. I'll insert a photo into this clip if I do put it on the reels and hopefully link it for you. But I don't really know if I'll be able to link it because I got it from a boutique. But stone necklaces, so cute. Anyways, let's get into my weekend recap because I have a lot. I have a lot to unpack right now because usually I only do like what, Friday, Saturday, Sundays. But no, I've been on vacation. As you guys know from last week, I was in Florida for 5 days and then I went to Charleston for another 5 days. Wednesday was the layover or the transition in vacations. I had a early morning flight, woke up bright and early, I think around 4:30 in the morning in Florida, and drove to the airport with our rental car. Got to the airport. The Panama City airport is very small. I think there's a total of 7 gates. So we had no issues getting through security. But luckily, we got through security because we did not realize our flight was delayed. And we're like, that's weird because we're the first flight of the day. Why would it need to be delayed? Come to find out that there was an IT issue. So everyone through TSA and boarding flights was down. So there was, I guess, a massive line of people just waiting at the TSA security checkpoint because they couldn't get through because everything on their software was down. They couldn't check the bags, they couldn't do anything. So I had no idea because we were sitting at our gate just chilling for like 45 minutes to an hour waiting for the flight. Come to find out, I'm like, okay, it's time to board. Why is no one boarding? And we're like, oh, there's like rumor has it there's an IT issue. I'm like, great. So we had like not even a direct flight to get to from Panama City to Charleston. The issue with Charleston Airport is in the off season, they don't have a lot of direct flights. So Panama City to Charleston, we had to fly into Atlanta. And I just knew from this point, I'm like, we're really cutting it close. Our layover is about 45 minutes. Our flight was delayed by 15 minutes. When we land in Atlanta, we have to go from one terminal to the other. So we went from A to B. You have to hop on a SkyTrain, and you guys, I have never sprinted so fast in my entire life to get to the other gate. As you know, with flights, it shuts the gate at 15 minutes before takeoff. So the flight was at, I think, 10 a.m. and we got there at 9:47 a.m. So we missed the gate closing by 2 minutes. We were full on sprinting. If you saw me in the Atlanta airport, please act like you did not because I probably looked like a fool. I probably ran about 2 miles, like sprinted with a massive backpack on, my suitcase. I had my purse in one hand, my water bottle. Like I looked like an idiot. And by the time I got to the gate, I was so devastated to see the gate was closed already. There was no one even at the front desk. And I was sweating. So at this point, I'm like, fuck, what do we do? I log into my Delta app. And what Delta will usually do is obviously if you miss your flight, they'll just replace it for you with the next possible, flight that you can do. And the next one wasn't until 10 p.m. Keep in mind it's 10 a.m. I was like, there's no fucking shot I am sitting in this airport for 12 hours. It's just not happening. And you're telling me I'm not even gonna get into Charleston until like midnight? Hell no. So I look at my boyfriend Nick and I go, we're renting a car. And like that's one thing about me is I am go, 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 go with everything in life, whether it's travel, whether it's assignments and work that I have to get done, my workouts, like everything go, go, go. There's no chill time. Like I'm fucking going. So I look at him and go, we're renting a car. As we're walking over to the rental car facility, I'm booking it. Like I'm booking this this thing online. I'm like, I don't even care that I'm out probably like a few $100s on this flight. Like I'm not sitting here for 12 hours. That is miserable. So sprint over to the rental car thing. I was already renting a car anyway in Charleston. So if we were to actually make that flight and get into Charleston, I had a rental car waiting for me. So I called up American Express because that's what I book all my travel through. And the great thing about booking through American Express is you get a travel agent. So you don't have to talk directly to the airline or the rental car facilities. I'm talking to my travel agent and they're handling everything for me. So they cancel the other rental car I had and rebooked me for in Atlanta to drive over to Charleston and just keep the car through the week while we're there. And so that was great. Only I think it was like $100 difference, to be honest. It wasn't even that big of a difference. And I did use my points because I had hella points anyway. So basically it was free. Basically it was girl math free in my head. And then so we drove the drive I knew from Atlanta to Charleston was 4 hours and around 45 minutes. So obviously the rental car is in my name. I want my boyfriend to drive though. So I'm like, all right, well, Nick, listen, I'll drive. I'll be behind the wheel for the first like hour because I have to leave behind the wheel to get out of the facility because they check your ID and everything. And I'm like, I'll drive to get us out of here and then we'll switch over when we go get food because it would have probably been like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock by the time we would switch over and then we could get lunch. You guys, this is where shit already was going wrong, okay? Shit was already going wrong, but this is where things got real bad, okay? I was driving and Atlanta highways are massive. We are only 45 minutes outside of the city at this point, but we are kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I'm driving in the left lane. And there's what, maybe 5 lanes on this highway? Driving. Probably going around 70 miles an hour. All of a sudden, the car in front of me swerves out of the way, and all I can see rolling at me is this massive 3 to 4 foot like cement cinder block. And I'm like, we are fucked. At first, like looking at it, I'm like, oh, maybe it's like cardboard or something. Like if I do clip it, we'll be okay. Oh, fuck no, you guys. I had 3 to 4 seconds to even react. It's rolling at me too. So it's not even just sitting there still, like it's rolling at me. I move as much out of the way without going into another lane and, getting in a car accident because God forbid I fucking don't pay enough attention and I roll into the other lane and there's a car there. Like, who knows what could have happened? Like, my hands are sweating thinking about this because it was so scary, you guys. I swerve out of the way the best I can. I probably clipped that cement block by like 2 to 3 inches, like nothing bad, but it blew out the tire, popped the tire completely, and I had to immediately make my way over to the right lane and put the hazards on and just sat there. Interrupting the episode real quickly to talk to you guys about HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get free, fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your front steps. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easier, fun, and more affordable. That is why it's America's #1 meal kit. And you guys, sitting here right now, it is making me wish I had my HelloFresh box this week because I'm trying to get back into the swing of things after being on vacation for about 2 weeks, and I have no motivation to be in the kitchen right now. I had HelloFresh the week between my trips in New York City and Florida. And you guys, it made me feel so good knowing that I was one, not letting anything going to waste because I had a weird split between my two trips, but I was also getting meals that fueled me and made me feel good. You're able to easily customize your meals with protein or veggie swaps. And don't forget to check out HelloFresh Market for more delicious add on items to jazz up your weekly deliveries. For free breakfast for life, go to HelloFresh.com/free era. One free breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life. Just going to HelloFresh.com/free error. I was so in shock and denial that this had happened because we had already had such a shitty travel day that I was like, there's no way. It finally hit me after, calling my American Express travel agent. They got, which to anyone listening to this right now, if you travel a lot, get an American Express because traveling and being able to talk to an agent that one speaks, American and is like well understood and not somebody in like another country and like you can't understand what they're saying. Cause that's my biggest issue is like I can't sometimes I can't like understand what people are saying to me and I'm like saying like what hello like what do you mean like and it's always laggy like the communication. So having the travel agent was really nice and I call her and I'm like, hey, this just happened. And she's like, oh my God, like, are you kidding me? Like, you're already having such a bad day. Like, what is going on? I'm like, you're telling me. So she gets me a tow car and an Uber to, obviously tow truck to tow the car and then Uber for us to, get off the highway. And after sitting there for about an hour, the tow truck gets there and we look at the side of the highway and we're like, we can't even get to this Uber because on the highway, there was a road next to the highway, but there's a fence between and it has barbed wire. So we're like, fuck, we can't even hop the road to get into that Uber. So canceled the Uber and hopped right in the car with the tow truck guy. He was so sweet, like chatting it up with us, like trying to, make us not as miserable as we were, making light of the situation. He dropped us off over at the renter rental car facility, which luckily was only about 2 miles away. There was another one, not the airport one, but a different one, 2 miles away, like 5 minutes down the road. So if honestly anything were to happen, I'm happy that it happened where it did because we were so close to the rental car facility. And we just rode with him and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna give you a new car. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Oh, bet. Like, that's great." No, we ended up just getting the tire fixed and continuing on with our journey. And that was about a 3-hour delay in the drive, but we made it. We made it into Charleston. We were supposed to make it into Charleston around 11:30 in the morning. Did not make it until about 7 p.m. And obviously, I'm a go, go, go person, but the one thing I really needed to do because I did not want to, go to the Airbnb and then back out. I just wanted to like rest for the rest of the night. Was before even getting to the Airbnb and checking in, we stopped at Publix because there's one right next to my Airbnb. And we got groceries for the week to make some breakfast and we got some sandwiches for dinner because I was like, I was going to cook us like a home cooked meal that night, if we got in at 11 a.m. But I was like, we are not doing that. 7 p.m. I want to take a shower, lay in bed. We have been driving and dealing with that all day. So that was honestly, probably one of the worst travel days. But it gets bad too coming home. And we'll talk about that later. So, anyways, that was my entire Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I woke up and my favorite thing to do as of now, because I'm into running, is whatever new city or town I'm traveling in. I like my first day to be going on a run and just exploring every street possible in that city. So Charleston is gorgeous. It is on the water. It's historical. There is just so much to see. I went on a 5 mile run. I will be honest, it's kind of hard running in a new place where you don't know where you're running because you have to keep maps open the entire time, or you could just wing it and, get lost. But I really wanted to make sure I didn't run too far to the point where I wasn't capable of running back. So went on a 5 mile loop and then got home, changed up really quickly, and I immediately wanted to go shopping because Wednesday was supposed to be my shopping day. And so because we missed all that, I had to shop real quickly. Thursday morning, we went on King Street. It's gorgeous. That whole entire road, I think, is probably like 2 miles long, and it's just all stores. There's boutiques. There's obviously your typical, Brandy Melville, Urban Outfitters, H&M, Anthropologie, Free People, all those, but it has like a mix of the boutiques as well. And I honestly didn't get a lot. I was hoping I would, but I didn't one have enough space in my suitcase, and two, just nothing fully stood out to me. And I don't know if that's just because of the transition of summer clothes into fall clothes, but I mean, I loved that street. There was so many restaurants, so many coffee shops, so many places to shop. Super cute. And then we went over to Folly Beach, which there's a few different beaches in Charleston. There's Folly Beach, Sullivan's Island, Isle of the Palm, and another one. I can't remember the name of it, to be honest, but there's a lot. So I wanted to try a new beach every single day. Folly Beach was the first one we went to. I will say is more on the touristy side. They have a gorgeous pier, a whole like little strip of restaurants and bars and places to go shopping and get like your traditional like touristy merch, and beach stores. And we picked up lunch from this place called Bodega, got salads, and pretty much just walked the entire beach just because, I love exploring and just seeing what there is, but it was gorgeous. I will say it's a little bit like I said on the touristy side. So there's a lot of like condos and apartments, or not even apartments. I think maybe they are apartments. Um and hotels just along the strip. So it's like not the best. It's like kind of an eyesore to look at, but definitely a pretty beach in itself. And then we left the beach and went directly home to go to get ready for dinner at 167 Sushi Bar. I have heard so many amazing things about the 167 like restaurants. They have 3 or 4 different restaurants in Charleston. So we wanted to go to the sushi bar because, on the water, you got to take advantage of getting some seafood. And this restaurant was more of like an omakase vibe. It's very small. I think they had a total of like 10 table or not even 10 tables, 10 chairs because they had a whole bar where you could watch them making the sushi, and then I think there was like 3 tables behind, but they're like bar height tables, not the short down low ones. So, I mean, it was a very intimate experience, but the food was amazing. It's on the pricier side, but definitely worth it. And we were still so tired from our travel day that we just went back home and went to bed. But then on Friday, this is when things started to get really hectic for me because Nick has a lot of friends that live in Charleston. He went to school in Columbia, so a lot of his friends from Columbia moved down to Charleston, and they have girlfriends, they've made new friends. So like they just have a big crew. And so I just knew Friday, Saturday was gonna be a lot filled with just, meeting new people and doing things. So me and him went on a very long walk exploring again on Friday morning as our exercise. He wanted to go to the gym, but I was like, I can't justify spending $20 to go work out when I could just, go on a walk and explore and see more parts of the city that I haven't seen yet. So I think we walked like 5 miles, and then we went to the beach. I wanted to go to Sullivan's Island. Sullivan's Island was honestly gorgeous. This is a much private, more private beach. It's public beach, which is nice. You can park along the street and then walk down the piers or like the little paths to get to the beach. But it's oh my god, I can't speak today. Mostly houses like along the water. I don't think I saw a single apartment complex or like condo. So I liked that vibe better. Um and then we brought lunch again with us. And from there, we went over to his friend's boat after we ate lunch around like 3 o'clock. We went from Sullivan's Island to Mount Pleasant, which is all very close to each other. And Mount Pleasant is gorgeous, like so freaking pretty. It's it's also kind of like an island. I don't even know if it's an island, but it's a part of um, kind of a part of Sullivan's Island. If you look at the map, okay, I visited once and I'm trying to act like I know what I'm doing or saying, but his friend lives in Mount Pleasant and he has a boat. So we met him at his house and then we drove over to the marina and hopped on the boat. We went to a sandbar right in outside of like this bridge right in along the ocean. It was gorgeous. Hung out there for a few hours. Um there was a few of us and then it was time to go out. We rushed home and I think around 7:30 we went over to Shem Creek, which if you are from Charleston or have visited Charleston, Shem Creek is a little waterway. I don't even know if it's a marina. I think it's a marina, but it's a waterway, and on both sides there are just strips of restaurants and bars. So we needed food. We hadn't had dinner yet. And we went over to this restaurant that is 2 stories. And the top floor is the restaurant, and the bottom floor is more like DJ, bar, dancing vibes. So we started off up top and got food, worked our way downstairs. And you guys, this is where things got interesting for me because my boyfriend obviously knows a lot of people here. And I'm just like, not necessarily on edge, but like we were in the restaurant walking down to go. Now, keep in mind, there's probably like 20 people that like I'm with. There's a good group of us. And we're walking down the stairs to go down to the bar. And as we're doing that, a bunch of the guys and a few of the girls see some people that they know at the bar. So they go over and say hi. Guys, I get the weirdest vibe like instantly for them. Like I just felt weird. I was like, there's something off. And every girl's instinct, you know, something is off. Like, trust your gut because you're probably right. Okay. So I thought nothing of it. I'm like, this is just weird, but maybe I'm just in my own head. Again, I'm kind of the outcast. I'm my boyfriend's girlfriend. Everyone else went to college together or has been living here and has been friends for a while. It is what it is. We get down to the bar. I get a drink. One of the girls that I had been kind of like buddy buddy with because it's my boyfriend's best friend's girlfriend. She goes to the bathroom. And I'm like, fuck, I should have just asked to go with the bathroom with her because I realized like 2 seconds after that I had to go to the bathroom. So then she gets back and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Where's the bathroom? So I go to the bathroom and I'm in the stall. And I hear these 2 girls in the stall next to me talking about a situation that they just had an interaction with, but they weren't saying names. And I'm like, this sounds oddly familiar. I'm like, I have a gut feeling right now that whoever these 2 girls in the stall are talking about me. So I finish going pee. And keep in mind, this bathroom is packed. Like there are so many people, but I outheard this conversation. So I'm like, I just know gut feeling like something's up. I step onto the toilet and peek over the stall. And all I see is those 2 girls that I got the weirdest vibe from. I was like, fuck, I knew it. So I'm in my head. I'm not gonna go into details what they were saying, but they were basically talking about um this is my problem with my podcast is I overshare too much and then it bites me in the butt after. It really does. It bites me in the butt. So you know what? Let's just say they were talking about um my boyfriend's past, but it has nothing to do with them, okay? Nothing to do with them. But for some reason they were talking about me. So I'm like, "Oh, weird." Weird. So I go downstairs and I ask my boyfriend, I'm like, "Hey, like those 2 girls, like, is there something I should know about them? Like, I just heard them having this conversation." And that's when he like clarified what they had said in the bathroom. And I was like, see, next time just like warn me. Like if we walk away from those girls after you introduced me to them, just like warn me like what their vibe is because like I could have been like friendly with them all night and had no idea that they were talking shit about me in the bathroom, but here we are. I went to the bathroom and I heard it myself. So I kept my distance from them. So yeah, that was just a great experience to say the least. And so I needed to vent real quick because you know what? I'm the one girl that's just the outcast. So I asked one of the girlfriends to come with me to the pier because I wanted to check it out too. Because the entire pier is like all the bars are on that one strip, and I'm like, I want to go explore. One thing about me, I explore. So I want to go explore, and we're talking, we're just chit chatting. I told her what happened. She's like, oh my god, like that's crazy. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, don't worry. Like, don't get in your head. Like, I know, like you hear one person talk shit about you or whatever, and then you just assume that everyone in the group probably thinks that too, and it's not the case. So I'm like, okay, great. Um, and I guess like no one really had known in the group who they really were. Like they don't really hang out with them, but they're like acquaintance with those people. So I'm like, okay, I feel a little bit better. So, anyways, after maybe 15 minutes of being on, we come back and I have 3 missed calls from my boyfriend. And I'm like, "What the fuck is going on? What is going on?" So we come back. Um, Everyone swarms me and they're like, "Sam, where have you been?" Like, "Oh my god, like we need you." I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Nick, Nick." I'm like, What happened to Nick?" "He fell in the water." I go, "He fell in the water? What?" Yeah. I walk over, they bring me over to my damn boyfriend, and he is sitting on the picnic table, soaking wet, like soaking wet from head to toe. I guess he was standing along the pier. His back was to the water, wasn't paying attention to how close he was to the edge of the pier deck, and just fell right back in. And it's not standable water either. Like, he was swimming when he fell in, and everyone had to help pull him out. So I come back over, he's sitting on the picnic table, and he just looks at me and goes, "We need to go home. I'm so embarrassed." And I felt so bad. I was like, "Oh my god." Like, my poor like, he just looked so cute and innocent and sad. I was like, "Fuck." Like, I feel so bad because, like, if this was me in this situation, I would also be so embarrassed. But the good thing is, like, everyone that saw it was just his close friends, and, like, no one really, like, made fun of him. They were more just like, "Wow, let's get you out of the water. Let's clean you up. Let's get you home." And so we Ubered home around, like, 10:30, and he was soaking wet in that Uber. He tipped the Uber driver, like, an extra $45 or something because he felt so bad. But that was a story to say. It was hilarious. And, you know, am I upset that we had to go home early? Not really. I like to go home early, but I am sad that I didn't get to explore some of the other bars because that's what everyone ended up wanting to do was like bar hop. But once we went home, a lot of other people just ended up going home because they're like, well, we're all kind of just out because you guys are in town anyway. So might as well go home. So that was that, and then on Saturday, we were both pretty hungover. He was way more hungover than me. We had mudslides too, by the way, which were so strong. So I think that's a major reason why he fell in the water was that that mudslide. And then Saturday, we went to a market downtown. They have a market in the French Quarter district, and it's gorgeous. It's huge. I bought two different photos, which were paintings by this 84-year-old woman. Like, they are amazing. She is so talented, and she was selling them for so cheap. I was like, "Girl, like, spike up this price. Like, these are amazing." But got some art because I'm trying to fill my wall back here at the house with all those frames that I put up on my wall. And then we got a call from his friend, and he was like, "Boat day, like, rally the troops, meet me at my house, and let's go." So had to leave the market. We went right over to his friend's house. We got some sandwiches at Publix, and we went to this little island, tied up the boat with with another boat, and there was a big group of us. We were just hanging out pretty much all day, drinking on the water. I didn't really drink, to be honest. I was more or less just vibing, eating my Publix, and I was just too hungover to day drink because I did wanna go out that night. And then all of us girls were, like, at the point of, like, we wanna go because we wanna go home, get ready to go out, get some drinks, cute cocktails. So we convinced all our boyfriends to leave because it was my last night too, and I was like, "Guys, we need to tell them, like, it's my last night. I don't wanna be stuck on a boat on a Saturday night. Like, let's tell them we need to go." So we ended up getting back, I think around 7 o'clock. We got to the restaurant. We went back to the French Quarter, which honestly is my favorite part of Charleston. It's gorgeous. Reminds me a lot of Boston because it's very historical. They have restaurants outside, like on the road. It's super pretty. And we then ended up getting dessert at Camilia's dessert bar. I hope I'm saying that right. But I got a cannoli. It was fire. Um, and pretty much just went home after that. It was a nice casual dinner and drinks and dessert. Honestly, ideally how I want to be spending my Saturday nights. I love going out, don't get me wrong, but, like, I would so much rather go and get drinks and dinner and then dessert with some friends and just talk and, because I'm in a new city, making new friends, like, that's the best way to, get close with people is going to dinner and getting drinks, not going to a bar and having loud music and barely being able to hear anyone. So, that was that, and then on Sunday, we had our flight, but this is where shit went south, okay? Our flight was at noon because I wanted to be able to wake up in the morning, not be hungover if we went out on Saturday and get breakfast. And We get to the airport and, flight's on time. We're doing great. We have a layover obviously in Atlanta again because there's no direct flights from Charleston to Austin. And we're literally about to take off. I'm like, this is great. We're gonna make the flight this time. Like there's gonna be no delays. You guys, we literally pulled out of the gate and get an emergency announcement in the overhead saying, unfortunately, we're gonna have to deboard the plane. There's no explanation at this point, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why? Then once we get off the plane and everyone's lining up at the front desk, like there's everyone from that plane. I think like what 200 people on a plane, like lined up, and they finally announced to us that there was a major leak in the plane, like gasoline or something was pouring out, and they had to deboard us. Which thank fucking god. Like imagine they said they were like, luckily the, gate crew that was down below on the ground saw it because if not, and the pilot didn't see it, we would've been fucked. So, we deboarded and it was a shit show in the airport. We waited in that line for about 2 hours to figure out what was going on and get up to the front desk because everyone was rebooking their flight, rebooking, because they canceled the flight entirely. Like they weren't gonna fly that plane. They had to get rid of it and pull it aside and, fix it. So we ended up getting a flight and a travel or hotel voucher to stay another day, which I was excited about because I was like, honestly, like I just need one more day anyways to explore Charleston. Like I want to see every inch. So we ended up getting the hotel voucher around 2 o'clock, got to the hotel and went immediately back downtown and pretty much bar hopped. I was like so defeated at this point with how bad travel has been the last week of this trip that I was like, I'm getting hammered. So I just got a glass of wine and then Nick wanted to watch football. So every bar we went to, I made sure that football was playing. And yeah, we had ourselves a day. And the next day, we ended up flying in home on a Monday, which I mean, ideally we didn't want because Nick had to take work off. And then I also had to let my dog stay another day at boarding. And that shit gets expensive. So all in all, travel was miserable. It was horrible, but the trip itself was so much fun. I love trying new places. And as you guys know, the main reason I wanted to go was because I wanted to try to find a new place on the East Coast that, I kind of fell in love with and want to buy a investment property hopefully next year. And as of right now, Charleston is looking like it's going to be that place and I'm really excited about it. I do want to go back again. I would probably go by myself middle of the week. Now that I have friends there, I can, hit them up, hang out with them and do things if I am going to get bored traveling alone. But I think I just need to get in the talks with the realtor and go from there. My big plan is, I want to move back to the East Coast at some point in my life. I just know deep down inside I want to raise a family on the East Coast. And that's kind of where I'm starting. I love living in Austin. I have no plans on leaving anytime soon. But, you know, I want to start another life somewhere in that sense of like, I'm not going to live full time in Charleston, but I will go visit a lot to maintain friendships and meet people and explore and make memories. But, I'm going to be a permanent resident here. And yeah, is what it is. So, hope you guys enjoyed my little weekend recap. I'm excited to get into this next segment, which is birth control Q&A. Alrighty. So, just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am not an expert in this field. I am just talking on experience with my answers and advice to you guys. If you have things that are going to be, maybe an answer from a doctor or someone along those lines, reach out to them, with a professional, but I'm here to give advice and whatever. So let's get into it. So I'm currently on birth control because I'm taking Accutane, and it's not something I wanted to do because I'm someone who already has a weird period. I fucked it up by under eating, and I'm basically normal until I started birth control again. When you stopped birth control, did you wait to start seed cycling until you actually had a period again and knew what phase you were in? Okay. I feel like maybe you, not to be like a horrible, mean person right now, but I feel like maybe you didn't listen to my last episode about the birth control, but I wasn't getting my period. I didn't get it for 9 months, and I started in January, and then, like I said, 3 months later after seed cycling, I got my period. Um, and this is something I actually wanted to talk about last time I talked about birth control, but something I want people to put in consideration when it comes to birth control and your period and undereating and overexercising is your period when on birth control is a withdrawal bleed. Okay. So, no matter what, it's covering up your period in the sense of if you're over exercising and under eating and treating your body like shit, you're still going to get a period. It's going to be a withdrawal bleed. So, for me personally, I have this gut feeling deep down that when I was in that period of my life, because I took birth control for 8 years, but in the middle of that, I was horrible to my body. I underate, overexercised, and I was extremely skinny. So I have a very big gut feeling that when I was on birth control, it was just a withdrawal bleed and I wasn't actually getting a period. I think I fucked up my hormones so bad by treating myself so poorly with the underexercise or overexercise and undereating. So I just want that to be something that people put into consideration when it comes to treating your body properly. You can say to yourself, well, I must be fine if I'm getting a period. Well, yeah, you're on birth control and you have a withdrawal bleed. That isn't necessarily a real period. So just keep in mind, fuel your body, eat properly, eat a lot of food, a lot of good food, and don't exercise too much. Because if that's something that could have fixed back when I was on birth control was treating my body with more of respect, I probably would have had a regular period and I probably would have had a better time getting off birth control and getting my period back because like I said, I didn't get my period for 9 months. So, my hormones were out of whack. Anyways, next one. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm. Top tips you recommend when stopping the pill. So, as someone who completely quit cold turkey, I mean, that's what I would say. Quitting cold turkey would be ideally the best thing to do, but do your research before. I did it cold turkey to just see how my body was going to respond and then months later implemented things to balance out my hormones. So, I would still care about your hormone health before even getting off. So, everything that I had mentioned in that episode 2 weeks ago, the seed cycling, not working out too much, fueling your body properly, all those supplements I was talking about, fixing your gut health. Happy gut equals happy hormones. So, getting those fruit and veggies in. I drank bone broth every morning, still do every morning to strengthen my inner lining of my gut. And, making sure I have a regular bowel movement every day. I go to the bathroom probably 2 to 3 times a day, honestly. Like, unless I'm traveling, then sometimes it gets a little fucked up. But I just really, really prioritize my gut health. And it makes a world of a difference with your hormones. Do you ever get stressed waiting for your period to come? Fear of being preggo? Oh, all the time. All the fucking time. And that's just something, you got to deal with. Actually, that's such a lie. Not all the time, but there are months where maybe my period is a day or two late and I'm like, what the fuck? But you need to remember not to fear about these types of things because stress, anxiety, any of those things plays such a huge role on your hormones and your period coming. Like the more I stress about it, the later it comes. So if you just forget about it and just trust that it's going to come and, track whether it's on the Flow app or with a Aura ring or natural cycles, just trust and, listen to your body. If you don't stress, likely it will come quicker than you think. Terrified of gaining weight to getting off. Um, Obviously, with everyone, that is going to be a different situation. For me personally, I felt like I was holding on to weight when on birth control. I felt really, really puffy on birth control. Like, I felt like I was always holding on to water weight. I was, kind of foggy in that sense. Like, I wasn't a point in my life where, yes, I was very, very skinny, but I was under eating and over exercising. But when I got to a healthy state and was, eating properly and all that, I just felt like I was like puffy, holding onto a lot of water, like wasn't really the best potential that I could be. So for me, it gave my body a little bit more wiggle room with feeling better and not being as bloated. But like I said, it's different for everyone, and there's a lot of factors that come in with that. And I honestly, if you are eating properly and you have a good workout routine, I don't see the problem with getting off birth control and, seeing how your body responds. Um, your physical well being and your healthy lifestyle will play a huge role. Do you go to your gyno? Yes, I do. I went recently, and well, actually, I told you guys about the um friggin' blood work that I got done recently. I did that too, but I went to the gyno also, and I freaking hate getting a pap smear. I hate it. It's cold. The plier things are long, like, and it makes you bleed, and it gives me the worst cramps for like 24 hours straight. I hate it. I hate it. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys right now. The first time I did it, came back irregular, and then I had to do it again and again. But things are great down there. Things are amazing. But I guess coming back irregular on your cells is like a common thing. So yeah. Anyways, um, not a question, but let people know about the Ava bracelet. That's what I use for birth control. I'm gonna look up the Ava bracelet right now. Ava bracelet. Ooh, cool. It looks like a bracelet you wear, similar to the Aura ring. That is pretty cool. I did not know that existed. Thank you. Na, na, na. How do you do it without birth control? I've been off for 3 to 5 months. Girl, I talked about this last week. Um, Pull-out game, tracking your cycle, not having sex around your ovulation, condoms. Yeah, those are the main things. A lot of questions about methods. I fear a lot of you did not listen to last week's episode. What has been the most in your life that has changed? Mood changes, comma, if it did post birth control. I think the biggest thing for me is being in tune with my body now, and which I never really felt the cycles when I was on birth control. I just felt the same all around with every phase, besides my period. Obviously, I was bleeding. But now that I'm in tune with my body and I'm in tune with my cycles, I just know how to respond to make myself feel a little bit better. So when I'm in my luteal phase, I'm lower energy, I'm puffy, my boobs are extremely tender, and I just don't have as much like work drive. So I set myself up for success knowing that week, wear the more comfy clothes because I don't feel the best. Also work wise, don't have a lot of my tasks piled up for that week. So the week before, I get a lot of my work tasks done. So that way, when I do enter my luteal phase, I don't have to stress and worry that I have so much on my plate, but I don't have the energy to get it done. I also do a lot more low impact workouts during that time of my phase. So I do, Pilates, yoga, walks. If I go on runs, they're much shorter. And then I will lift, but I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to have an amazing workout. Because if I know in the back of my head, oh my God, like I'm having such a bad workout, and I know that it's because of the phase I'm in, then it's totally fine. And I think that's one thing that like people don't talk a lot about, especially with, work as well with women, is truthfully, like, I don't wanna get, like, all crazy with this conversation, but I just truthfully think that, like, women deserve more time off from work because of our cycle. Like, men are able to feel great every single day. Their cycle is 24 hours. They have way more testosterone than us. When we have testosterone, we get it when we're ovulating. When we're ovulating, that is when we have the best work drive. We see clear, we have more energy. And then when we enter our follicular phase, or I'm sorry, our luteal phase, we're low energy, less work drive, and maybe have cramping, migraines, nausea, bloating, but we still are expected to work. It's nuts to me. And especially for those people that have like crazy jobs out there, I like don't know how you girls do it. It's honestly amazing, but I do think that women do deserve more time off because, some girls like talking to them about their periods, like, they get it way worse. I'm like, "Oh my god, like, I thought I had it bad. My fucking body, like, wants to basically shut down." So, I just think that's something to put in consideration. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. If you are tracking and you know you're in your luteal phase or whatever your symptoms are, each, cycle, just like remind yourself, "Hey, like this isn't my time of the month. Like this isn't my going to be my best week. This isn't going to be my best, few days, whatever it is." And just set yourself up for success with that. Maybe it's delusional, but I do blame a lot of things on my cycle. Like I'm like, "Oh, I'm having a bad day. It's just I'm in my luteal phase. That's what it is." So, I think that's been able to help me with just understanding that not every day is going to be the same and that I will have my bad days, my bad weeks, and preparing for those times because it will help you a lot down the road. And then also another thing with the mood changes is I feel so much better about like decision making and like I feel less foggy. I just felt like when I was on birth control, I had like this massive cloud over my head, and getting off birth control, I just feel like my feminine side has really come out. Like, truthfully, like, yes, a lot of other lifestyle changes have happened, but birth control has to be like one of the bigger ones that has had my feminine side come out more. So that's honestly what I'm thankful for a lot with this. Um, doo, doo, doo. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of these questions I answered um 2 episodes ago. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. I feel like a lot of you guys are asking questions to things that I have already talked about. I feel like this is gonna be a long episode anyway. But yeah, sorry. Sorry, not a lot of information for me today. I also put the story up for you guys to ask questions literally like 12 hours ago, so I could have done it maybe a little bit later, but I feel like this is a good episode. We got a lot to discuss. I hope you guys enjoyed. And just know that your girl has been traveling a lot, and she still has a lot going on in the next few weeks. A little heads up on my travel. Well, not even travel. I'm staying put. Okay, I'm staying put. I'm not fucking moving for a while. But we got a Kygo concert this coming weekend. It's one of our girlfriends' birthdays. Um, we're doing brunch, a late brunch though, and then going straight to a concert. And then the weekend after that is ACL. And then the weekend after that, my parents are coming to town. Weekend after that, I'm going to Fredericksburg. And then I have one weekend to relax. And then we are traveling over to College Station for a football game. Sorry, skipping one weekend. I also am going to a Post Malone concert. So we got a lot of things going on. I just went shopping right before this because I'm like, fuck, I need some clothing for these events because the weather is changing a little bit. And obviously, ACL, I need to pop the fuck off with my outfits. So, yeah. And I am hoping to get a guest on next week. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.